So this is going to be kind of an interesting kind of theory video. This is going to feature some of the new plant cards. There are a couple of plant cards that come out in Dimension Force, both just generic plant support in the new Sylvan Link monster, and also the Predaplant cards. We're going to focus on the Sunseed, Sunavalon, Sunvine cards first. This is kind of a mock deck profile. I featured this previously a couple months ago when Dimension Force first came out in the OCG. But this is, I really like this deck. I really like all these plant decks, especially Sylvans, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But we're going to go over this profile, what this can do, and then what some of the other kind of theory cards I have in the works, what they can do. So this is the Sunseed. If you guys haven't seen this before, it revolves around this guy, Sunseed Genius Lochi. Level 1 Earth plant monster, 0 attack, 0 defense, something like that. And you basically summon this guy a lot. That is the whole idea of the deck, and you play cards like Unexpected Die. You can play 1-for-1. This combos into everything, so just this card on its own is your Link 4, and potentially with, I think, one extender, it's your Dryad Trentier Link 4 plus Bengal Lancer, and with some of the new cards you can do a little bit more with the Therions. But you play 3 this guy, and then I wasn't playing this originally, but Sunseed Shadow, it's a good extender in case you happen to draw your Sunseed twins, or you just need the extension, because you'll control plant or monster more often than not, since we have a bunch of ways to get to it. And then it can also special summon a copy of Dryas or some of your other generic plant links from the extra deck, because you always have a linked plant monster. This card's okay. I mean, it's a basic extension, but really it's a Sunseed twin that I really like, because you just special summon Genius Lochi back from the graveyard. The second effect doesn't come up too often, but it's okay as well. It's mainly for that first effect, though, because it just kickstarts your entire combo. And then, of course, Lone Fire Blossom, one of the best plant cards ever printed. This card is over 10 years old, and it's as good as ever. This card was restricted for a while. It was, I know, semi-limited. I'm pretty sure it was limited at one point, and for good reason. Now it's okay. We have Adventure, so you can't really use Adventure and this card specifically, but you can still play Adventure with this deck if you really wanted to. And then Mardell. Mardell actually is being reprinted in Ghosts from the Past, the Second Haunting, which is good because this card's around $30, or was as a secret rare, because it wasn't really played too often. There were a couple of jank decks with Generator when the deck came out, in Mystic Fighters, I believe, in late 2019. Received more support later on, but this card searches any Generator card or a plant monster, so you can search basically any of your extenders. You can actually search one of the new Therion's monsters, Lilyboria, because it is a plant, and that is one of the reasons why I'm really interested in this deck, is because Therions just add a whole negate engine, big beaters in there, and an additional layer of protection that a lot of these kind of jankier combo decks need, to be able to play. And then Evil Thorn, this is like a Lone Fire Blossom, just gets you your 2 Evil Thorns from the deck. You can summon your generic plant monsters. That's the only reason. You don't have to play this card either, if you wanted to cut down on some of the cards you were playing anyway. You could also play like Nibiru and Effect Veiler. I'd probably opt for Effect Veiler now, but I still like this card a lot. And then Sunvine Sowing. This is an E-Telly basically for your Sunseed monsters. So you go Genius Lochi, get your Dryas. Dryas Link 1 searches a Sunvine spell or trap. This is that card that you search, and you summon Sunseed Twin from the deck, because you can only special summon Genius Lochi normally, but because you'll have Dryas, you can special summon the Sunseed Twin from the deck. And it just does the entire combo for you. It does restrict you, does lock you to plants after it resolves, but that's okay. We are only playing plant monsters in the extra deck. We play 2 Xyz and 13 Links, of course. And then Sunvine Shrine. This is part of one of the combos with Snapdragon and your Rika monsters. It's okay. I don't like having to discard to activate it, but some of your cards can interact with the graveyard, so it doesn't really matter too much. And then Sunavalon Bloom, you search this off of Dryad Trentier, and Dryad Trentier turns it on automatically. You get the effects of all face-up monster opponent currently controls to control a Link 4 higher monster, so either Bengal Lancer or Dryad Trentier. That's basically it. Then the Therions, we play up Bullseyes, the 2 Regulus, 1 Leaper Fam, and 3 Lilyboria. Lilyboria is the best one, just straight up, because you can search it off Mardell, and you can special summon it from the deck if you really want to with Lone Fire Blossom. Lone Fire doesn't restrict on levels at all. This card gets you any of your Therion spells or traps. So originally I wasn't playing this Therion's Cross, but now I am, because it's just a good card to have. Again, another layer of protection, because if you survive turn 1, generally speaking, you're going to be just fine. But really, surviving turn 1 is the main issue, or playing through a bunch of negates or back row, anything like that. That's where this deck struggles, or has previously struggled. With Therions, that helps a little bit. And then the Colosseum, this is just their Magical Meltdown for the deck. You can also grab the Endless Engine Argyro system. That is the TCG translation for it now. Yeah, it does everything too. Protects your monsters from destruction by battle too. Then recurs some advantage from there, and then Call by the Grave. Because Call by the Grave, you kind of have to play this card if you're playing any kind of combo deck. Play against those hand traps that discard themselves or send themselves from the hand to the graveyard. Unexpected die, because Genius Loci, you know, that's the main piece, and you always want to be able to special summon that for free. You can play 1-for-1. I don't think that discard or sending one monster from the hand to the graveyard is great, but it is, you know, it is there. It is possible to use that, so you can, and there are some pretty good level 1 plant monsters too that are tuners and non-tuners that do things too. And then 12 hand traps, impermanence, the Ash Blossom, Ghost Ogre, and Bell. Again, you can play Valor too. Extra deck is just the Princess Sprite. This card is way better in the Sylvan variant of Plant Link, but it's good here too. And then Teardrop, this is part of one of the Banish 1 and Tribute 1 combo. If you use one of the other cards, Snapdragon, and one of the Rika monsters, special summon the Rika monster from your hand, and also special summon Snapdragon becomes level 8. They're both level 8, and you summon Teardrop. Kind of a greedy combo, but it's after you've checked your opponent for all their hand traps. Yeah, and then the Sunvine, Thrasher, Healer, you play at least one of these two, because you can special summon from the extra deck with basically for free with Dryas, and Dryas is the best Link 1 in this deck. This is one of the most insane Link 1s ever printed, and it's in a relatively unknown theme, because you can use, if you use Genius Loci, you can add a Sunvine spell or trap. There currently aren't any Sunvine traps, and there are currently no Sun Avalon spells. That may change in the future, who knows, but Sunvine Sowing, that's what you get every single time. And if you, because Sunvine Sowing makes you take damage, it burns you after you use its effect. This will trigger, and then you special summon Healer, and that heals you, so it actually puts you to 8,300, because you target your Link monster, you gain 300 life points, you have more life points than your opponent. And yeah, Aromaseraphy Jasmine will protect your plant monsters from battle. That's not important, because later on you actually gain more life points with some of the tech cards we're going to talk about. I can go ahead and we're going to post a replay in just a second. I'm going to show you guys exactly what to do, but I want to talk about some of the other plant cards you should be aware of moving forward, especially post-Dimension Force, because Therions exists. Therions is a very, very strong engine. It's really good in the OCGs, especially I think TCG is going to definitely capitalize on it, just like we have with the Adventure Engine. And I think once the Adventure Engines hit here, Therions is going to find its way, really trying to wedge itself into that spot. Doesn't do exactly the same things as Adventure cards, but they do similarly enough. Especially if you're a theme like Earth Machine, good stuff can play that, or any deck that can utilize Aqua monsters can summon these, warrior decks, anything like that, psychic decks. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these tech cards. So the first one I think you guys should actually know, this is really, really important. This is Naturia Rosewhip. Your opponent can only activate one spell or trap card per turn. It does not have a whole lot of attack, but it has a higher defense value. I believe it has 1200 defense. Yeah, really strong card. Some of them prevent your opponent from attacking your monsters. Some of these Sun Avalon, Sunseed cards preventing that. But I think you need to worry about these cards, or this card specifically, again, because the Therion cards exist. And this was a deck in the OCG for a little while, because just having this and having King Regulus, kind of hard to beat sometimes, especially versus a lot of decks that rely on spells and traps. Prevents your opponent from activating, specifically activating Fateful Adventure, or if they happen to already have Draco back in the hand, they can only do one. But yeah, I think it's good to be aware of this card. I don't know if it's going to be super impactful in TCG, but I guess we'll just have to see. And then the Say Sailor Romarin. This card, basically the only relevant effect is the last one. If it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can send a level 5 or lower plant monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. This is comboed mostly with the Rose cards and some of the Sylvan cards we play. It can also be used in the Predaplant deck or the kind of Predaplant Albaz fusion deck. There are a couple ways to use this card specifically because it is a light monster rather than a normal earth or wind, anything like that a lot of these plant cards are. Then we have White Rose Cloister. This card hasn't been really used at all since it came out in King's Court in the TCG here. If you control no monsters, you can special summon a Rose Dragon monster. Some of them are actual dragons, or a plant monster from your hand. That's any of them, so if you start with Mardell plus, White Rose Cloister, you have some kind of combo there. Second effect doesn't matter, we're never going to use that. But really it's just that first effect, just to kickstart your combo without using your normal summon. Just something to consider. Same with White Rose Dragon. Brox Rose and Red Rose are currently seeing play in the TCG. You can play those cards in here too. There is a kind of Plant Sylvan Link Synchro deck that exists. We're going to have a lot more decks on that, videos regarding those decks, because I think they're really interesting. So yeah, if you control a Dragon Tuner or Plant Tuner, special from the hand, and then if it's sent to the graveyard or Synchro Material, you can send a level 4 or higher plant monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can special summon this off of Red Rose Dragon, so say you already have a tuner, and there are some really fantastic plant tuners like Spore, and then you can just send whatever you want from the deck to the graveyard, and continue your plays from there. Some of the cards I really like, though, are Rose Lover, Rose Paladin, and Rosebell of Revelation. Rose Lover has been a really fantastic card in the Sylvan theme since it came out in 2015, came out in Premium Gold 2. I played this when I played Sylvans back then. You banish it from the graveyard, special summon a plant monster from your hand. If you do, it's unaffected by your opponent's trap cards. You can only use it once per turn. Basically only need to play one, but sometimes in the newer builds of Sylvan you want to play like 2 or 3 because it's an okay normal summon. And then Rose Paladin and Rosebell of Revelation basically do the same thing. That first effect for Rose Paladin aren't relevant. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, add a level 7 or higher plant monster. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, add a level 7 or higher plant monster from your deck to your hand. That includes Lily Borea. Lily Borea is a level 8, and some of the Sylvan monsters that we play are level 7 and 8, as well as some of the Rika cards as well. This card's really nice, and it's a warrior, so you can play Rhoda. This is more for the Sylvan theme, the Plant Sylvan, and the Therion Synchro version of the deck. And then Rosebell of Revelation, add a plant monster with 2400 or more attack. Again, more so for your Therions, Variants, Sylvan, and Synchro versions of the deck, but still really cool. You can banish it as well, and special summon a plant monster for 2400 or more attack from your hand. You only draw. You can't use both effects in the same turn, but it's like for turn 3 follow-up. Just a nice tool. I would pick these up. I'm going to pick these up myself too. I just think these are really nice cards just to have for a kind of plant good stuff stack. Reminiscent of what we saw in 2018 in the OCG. Rose Girl came out as a world premiere in the TCG. It is just a free tuner extender, and that's basically it. It's okay. I wish you could use both effects in the same turn because it would be really nice. But you can special summon it for free. This is used in the Synchro version of the deck. And you can play some of the Sylvan cards with it to make Baron DeFleur, Cupid Pitch, and some of the really niche plant Synchro monsters that are level 7 or higher. And then we have Air Mage Laurel. This is a level 1 tuner. If your life points are higher than your opponent's, you can special summon it for free from the hand. This is searchable off Mardell, which is why the 8,300 life points does matter. You want your life points to be more than your opponent. You search this off Mardell, special summon it for free, and then you can go into a couple of different plays with this. We'll talk about those in a little bit, though. I have a specific replay from a non-meta tournament that is really, really interesting. And then Snowdrop the Rika Fairy. This card, you special summon this and Snapdragon from the hand, and then make Teardrop for free, basically. This card on its own is not great because it takes 2 cards from your hand, doesn't really do anything with them besides make your Xyz, but played with Snapdragon, this card has never seen play in basically any format. If it's sent to the graveyard, you can banish a random card from your opponent's hand until the end phase. You can only use one effect once per turn. So you tribute one of their monsters with Teardrop, and then you banish a card from their hand, taking away 2 of their resources. It's really good in that regard. Again, has never seen a reprint or a holo print at all. It's almost 9 years old at this point, very close to that. Just really cool cards. Really nice versions of the Sun Avalon deck that plays this. And we can show off some of those combos too. And then the Sylvan Monsters. These cards were bought out last year because of pack, just for retro formats. But I've always loved this. This is actually my favorite theme ever, with worm themes coming in second. But yeah, I love the Sylvan cards. They are so cool. I'm so glad they were good in Duel Links. These cards are really nice. Hermitry and Sage Koya and Sylvan Charity are the best 3 cards in the deck. There's also Aurea, the Sylvan High Arbiter. Fantastic removal because it doesn't target and it excavates all your cards. But these 3 are really good for the Sylvan specific version. You also play some of the level 1s because they special summon themselves or other good monsters like level 1 tuners, which are always going to be good. Namely Spore, because Spore is insane, and Glow Up Bulb, when it was still legal, you could special summon that. Now you can't because it is forbidden still. But Spore is pretty good on its own because you can banish some of your other cards. Make banish the level 8 monster, use Spore plus level 1, make Baron to floor. It's kind of busted from there. And then the Predaplant cards, these are more fusion focused, especially with the Albaz cards, but you can play this, kind of make them together. The reason why this card is good specifically is because Predaplant Orthrus Scorpio can search Ready Fusion, which actually special summons a non-effect fusion plant monster from the extra deck. It's a level 6, so you can make some synchro plays with it. With some level 1 through 4 plant tuners can make Baron to floor again. Or if you want to play level 1, there's a level 7 synchro that's really good. We can always feature those later on. Just want to show you guys some of these interesting theory cards to play for different variants of the deck. I'm really invested in these plant cards. I've always loved them. We're going to go ahead and show off the basic Sunseed Genius Lochi combo. Using this, and then we're going to show the Teardrop combo using Snapdragon and Snowdrop. Let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. So this is the basic combo just off of Unexpected Die. There are 2 variants of this. One of them is a little bit more committal. First we're going to go Unexpected Die, summon Genius Lochi. I'm going to have a card in hand. We're not going to feature it for this, but this is because theoretically you can use this card, any card in your hand, to use the Shrine card. That's just for extension, in case you get interrupted. But we go Genius Lochi, go Dryas, and Dryas, because it was summoned using only Genius Lochi as material, and it was special summoned to the extra monster zone, you can add a Sunvine spell or trap. So from here, we are going to search Sunvine Sowing, and activate Sunvine Sowing. And special summon our twins, and we're going to special summon over here. You can also special summon in the middle or rightmost column. The reason why we're going to do it right here, though, is because we're going to use Aromatherapy Jasmine in just a second. And so that triggers. We do take 1,000, so it would be Chainlink 1 usually, Sunseed Twin, and then Chainlink 2 Dryas, or if you want to play around Ghost Ogre, Chainlink 2. Sunseed Twin. So from here we're going to go Healer, and then we gain 300. So we took 1,000 from Sunvine Sowing, we heal that back. So I'm just going to show you guys from here, and then we gain 1,000 back, and just for purposes right here. So yeah, if this card special summon, target a Sun Avalon Link monster, you just gain 300 life points. And then we're at 8,300. Again, remember this is relevant because we do need to keep that the 8,300 at least, and we need to have at least higher life points than the opponents. Let's go ahead and go from here. Jasmine, we're going to go Jasmine, and so its effect, you contribute a monster this card points to, special summon a plant monster from your deck in defense position. So you can go one of 2 things here. You can either just go into Therion's cards, which is fine, there's absolutely no problem with that, or say that you want to summon Extend with the Therions. There would be another path for that. There are a bunch of paths, just the way that you build this deck. We're going to go ahead and use Jasmine effect and special summon. Let's see. I think we're going to just do the very basic Therions route. So we can go Mardell, and then Mardell is going to search us our Lily Borea. And then from here, you can't go into Abaluza, unfortunately, but you can go into Bangle Lancer if you wanted to. We are not going to here quite yet. First, we're going to go Lily Borea. Lily Borea can equip any of these cards. We're just going to do Sunvine Healer. And then Lily Borea is going to send itself. And then, of course, Sunvine Healer automatically goes to the graveyard. By game mechanics, to get the Colosseum. Colosseum is going to search us our King Regulus. And remember, we're not restricted to only summoning plant monsters yet. We can still special summon non-plant monsters that aren't in the extra deck. So we're going to go ahead and go here. And we're going to clip Lily Borea so that we can send it off of Regulus. Regulus allows you to send your monster cards that are treated as equipped spell cards, because these cards are all spell cards technically, while equipped to a monster, but the game recognizes that they are still monster cards if you want to send them for cost. It's just the Plunder Patrol card interaction. So from here we can either go Dryad Trentier, which is fine. You'd have to go either the second Jasmine or Peony, which we can do that too. Up to you guys. Ultimately, that is up to you what you want to do. These guys are level 9, so we can't use that for rank 8. But from here, we can either go Bangalance or Dryad Trentier. Ultimately, I think we're just going to go... yeah, I think we'll go Dryad Trentier. But first, we have to actually summon... to summon our either Peonia or our second Jasmine, which I think I'm going to go right here. Because Dryad Trentier requires 2 Link monsters. So we're going to go ahead and grab Bloom from here. And so this still leaves you with your single card. And then set, so you have 2 negates off of your, not even your normal summon, just a special summon from the deck. Let's go ahead and go into the next combo and see exactly how to do the maximum value combo. So this combo is the maximum value combo. You have to play a couple of bricks, and you also play some extra deck monsters that are a little bit different. We play, of course, like before, the 2 Seraphie Jasmine. We also play 2 Sunvine Healer. You can play the second Healer over the 1 Thrasher, and then the 2 Melius do need, and the 3 Dryas, because that card's just insane. It is not once per turn, not a hard once per turn. Let's go ahead and go into here. So we go die into Genius Loci. And then, of course, into our first Dryas. Dryas will get us our Sowing. Go here. From here, we're going to get our Twin. And this is why you can also play Shadow. We're going to actually move it over here. And then take the 1,000. So this is going to trigger, and then this is also going to trigger. So it's going to be Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. Doesn't really matter where you put this guy. You just want to keep putting him in the graveyard. And we do take 1,000, so we'll take the 1,000. Immediately gain that back. And then this triggers targeting Dryas. We gain another 300. Perfect. And then go here, here. For this Jasmine. And then Jasmine is going to tribute Twin. It could be Loci as well. I don't think it matters too much though. But sometimes you'll want to have Loci in the graveyard. You'd rather have it there then. And then Mardell is going to grab us our Laurel. And then our life points are going to be higher at this point because we have 8,300 life points. And you can special summon from the hand. So at this point, I think, let's see, I'm going to go put these guys in the graveyard. Go here. And so then Laurel, we gain 500 life points. And then these guys are mandatory. Both Jasmines are mandatory, so you actually have to add, it is mandatory to add both of them. So we're going to go ahead and add, let's see. Going to add, I think we add Tyr and Angelica. Because we're going to use Jasmine's effect later on. We'll go Angelica effect, target Laurel, gain 800 life points, as you can see. And then from here, you can either special summon Angelica here right now. Doesn't matter too much. In this case, I will special summon Angelica. We're just going to use all three, so this is going to get banished. Lochi and Jasmine. You don't have to. We're going to just go to Melius here. And then Melius will special summon Genius Lochi. Let's see, from Graveyard. So, and then from there, Melius, and then we'll go to the second Melius. This triggers again, summon Lochi. We're actually going to go into our second Dryas. And Dryas is going to search our shrine. So we go shrine here. This is where the discard does come in, and then use the effect. And special summon Genius Lochi. Next we're going to go Twins effect, banish itself, and then banish Dryas. And because we have two link monsters that are plants with the same name, we can special summon one of them. Special summon Jasmine. And then special summon our second healer. This is where the other one comes up. And we can target our Melius. And we gain 900 life points. And then Jasmine triggers. We will add Snapdragon. From here, we are going to go Dryad Trentier. And then Dryad Trentier will search. We get our Bloom from here. And then Link summon both using Melius and Seraphy. Some Bangalancer, and then we're going to use Teardrop effect, attributing Bangalancer and Snapdragon. Then you can target your Teardrop, or excuse me, Snowdrop, and all your monsters become level 8. All your plant monsters become level 8. So now Snapdragon's level 8. Overlay for Teardrop. And then use Bangalancer. We're going to banish. Doesn't matter here. Banish. Banish. And special summon. So off of your 1 card plus a discard, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of interaction. So you can banish a card from the opponent's hand that's random, tribute one of their monsters, bounce one of their monsters, and negate the effects of all their monsters. So really, if you start off with Genius Lochi, it's a pretty strong combo. I really like this. It doesn't play very well through Nibiru, which is okay, but say you have something like Lily Borea to get into your Colosseum, to get into King Regulus, then you have the extra layer of interaction. This also works with the Adventure Engine. This exact combo doesn't because you don't have enough monsters for it, but the more minimized combos do. You wouldn't play Lone Fire Blossom in that case, or Evil Thorn, more likely than not. But they're still really good options. Let me know what you guys think about this and kind of the more plant theory videos that we're going to have in the future. I'm curious. I really like this way this deck plays. I really like the integration of both Link monsters and the Teardrop. This is a very, very strong combo. Very few decks can play through all of this. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Again, let me know. This is Eric with Ozen TCG. We'll see you guys in the next one.